Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Kept it short this time. Hope everyone's doing good. I hope you're having a good day, evening, night, train ride, car ride, whatever time you're watching or listening to this. Um, and we're
Yeah,
here for another episode.
it's a beautiful day in Florida today. Gonna push towards 90 degrees.
90. Ugh,
Yeah,
my body can't. I can't. I can handle the heat, but my skin can no longer handle it. I will burn very quickly now.
yeah. I try, do a few walks a week and only go to the beach maybe once a week
Right.
because of the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, still good. It's a good day. So
Yep.
we have a few topics to cover today. Which one would you like to start with?
Um, let's start with time travel.
Okay. So go ahead and introduce it.
Well, this is just off the cuff. Seen a lot of movies where lovers from different times for some reason get hooked up and there's time travel and people come back from the future to warn us about things that are going to happen in the future and try to correct bad things and make them into good things. So a thought passed my mind. If Let's think of different places we would like to visit if we could time travel.
Okay. Couple questions before we start. When you time travel to that place, uh, are you interacting with anything, or do you get to just sort of be an observer while you're there? Like no one knows you're there, and anything you do doesn't like affect history in any way.
Some I would not want to affect history.
Okay, so you can sort of transport there and you're almost like a hologram where like you're not gonna affect anything, but you can interact and exist there for when you want to visit.
Yes,
Okay.
others I would like to interact.
Okay, so but no consequences. That's the better way of putting it. No consequences.
No
So
consequence.
like if, someone was supposed to save this person that ends up being a political leader, you can't stop them and change history. We're not looking to have a conversation about what history would you change. We're just looking at what places you would visit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just clarifying because this could turn into a very separate conversation of like what history do we change.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the first place that crossed my mind
mhm.
would be the start of history for the United States.
Okay.
I would have loved to be at the Boston Tea Party and no taxation without representation. And I think I would like to have interacted to get our initial American freedom. I don't know if I would want to be at Valley Forge because people were freezing there because they didn't have adequate clothing and such. But I would like to have been able to at some point watch and maybe even take part in the Revolutionary War,
Okay.
see what our first president was like, see what the politics was actually like.
Hmm.
And that's where I would want to start. I don't like wars, so I would never want to go to our Civil War because everybody was getting killed in the Civil War.
Right.
But I would like to start off with my first visit to the Revolutionary War. What do you think about that?
Okay. That's fair. I think if that's something you're interested in, by all means.
What about
Um,
you?
I think, oh boy, this is it. I think I would love to go to, excuse me. I would love to visit, probably one of the like major Egyptian kings or rulers during their like peak time to see what those kingdoms looked like because we can only see versus the hieroglyphs and the pillars and the aged paint, but to see what one of those palaces places that they lived in its full use at its time, I think would be a very interesting thing. So like King Tut or um what's the I'm having a brain fart. The main Cleopatra. Cleopatra's a bit later on in Egyptian history. But the some major Egyptian ruler during the time where their palace or kingdom was in full use, because I'd love to see what that was like architecturally and just internally.
Yeah, I would have a mixed view on that because that would be wonderful to see what their architecture and such would be. But depending on when the visit would be, if I saw them using the whip on my fellow Jewish, people who were slaves at some point of time there, I don't know what I would have done. I would think I would have gone there packing, like, now,
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
but that would be very interesting. And also to see what is fact and fiction. Did Charlton Heston really part the seas,
Oh,
and Ten Commandments,
are the aliens really in the pyramids? Did they really help build the pyramids?
Yeah, yeah. But that would, be very, very interesting. The thing I definitely would want to visit, um, and definitely participate in, I would like to be placed in a private room with Adolf Hitler
Okay.
and kill him
Okay.
prior to when he became Adolf Hitler
Hmm.
and did what he did. I mean, that would be my goal. I always said, other than my family, if I, wishing good health and everything for my family, if I had one choice, it wouldn't be gold, it wouldn't be wealth. If I had one choice, it would have been to kill him.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
not a violent person,
Oh, yeah. I get it.
so I wouldn't mind going back there. I know we've had certain, let's not say CIA. I don't think we didn't have CIA during World War II, but and this probably was the end of World War One when he started to get his ideas. I'd like to get him before he had notoriety,
When he was
uh,
still a painter.
when he was still a bad painter. Yes, maybe a house painter.
That's
Uh,
fair.
that would be another one. What
Um,
about you? Have
I
you?
would I would say the building of the French Eiffel Tower.
Hmm.
That would be like I'd say when it's half constructed, seeing that being actively built would be cool. And then an additional one that I don't know if this is tied to it, but it might be is some of the like the middle of the world showcases. You were probably around for some of those things, right? When they had world showcases of like tech advancements from around the world.
Yeah,
So
but I was young.
right, right. They stopped doing them when you were like younger, not when did they stop doing showcases? Wasn't it the 60s?
Yeah, I was only in the '60s. I was born in '44, so
Something like that. I would like to go to see uh, a world showcase or two during its peak times. Not
well,
not at the beginning when it was getting started, and not towards the end when it was getting run down, but somewhere during its peak times, I'd be interested to see what was like, just what it was like at one of those. Is it just like a science fair, like a high school, like a middle school science fair, or is it like really interesting? I'd be interested to go.
well, I would have liked, well, you weren't born, but I would have liked to have traveled back in time with you and shared the World's Fair when I
That's
was,
what I meant. The World's Fair.
uh,
That's what I'm calling a World Showcase. I'm thinking of Epcot and Disney. Jesus, because that's what that's called. The Showcase, the
yeah,
World's Fair. Yes.
yeah, the New York World's Fair was in Flushing, New York,
Hmm.
and it was within walking distance from where I lived.
Mm.
And I used to go over there frequently, sometimes instead of school, because I considered that to be a better education than
Hmm.
going to school at the time. And it was marvelous. The exhibits, the food from all over the countries. I know how, when you go to Disney, you see all the different foods from different countries.
Yeah, but
But
that's theme parks. Like that's not even real. It's
yeah,
it's close to the thing, but it's not. It's a theme park.
yeah. But there in the New York World's Fair, and there was others, St. Louis World's Fair, which I wasn't born yet, but the World's Fair in New York, uh, it was a shame. It was so wonderful with exhibits of what was going to take place in the future and what was happening in the present, technology was.
Right.
And then as soon as it was over, they broke it down.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing that remained was Terrace on the Park, which was a big dome on the top, which your mother utilized for something.
Hmm.
And then that eventually rotted because nobody took care of it. There was a small zoo there. Uh, that would have been a nice place to take you and my other grandchildren. But it was just so wonderful because I was able to walk over there. All I needed was the money.
Right.
You could buy a pass, but I had the money, and you just had to be careful because there were certain people there you had to watch out for. But it was in Flushing Meadow Park in Queens. So I would like to go there. That was a good idea, Peter.
Thanks.
Um, I was thinking also, what could I do if I went into the future? I mean, today was the seventh year of your grandmother's passing and my wife's passing. If I can go in the future and find cures, not just for my beloved wife, but for others on diseases, but that would affect history. And I think even though it would benefit me by spending more time with the loved one, it would create a massive overpopulation problem because, we're all meant to live, we're all meant to
Yeah.
pass away.
I think the overpopulation conversation is a bit of a deeper one because I think at least currently we don't have an overpopulation problem. We have a resource problem.
Yeah.
Um, you know, maybe in a couple, maybe in like 10,000 years when we like quadruple in size, maybe. But like personally, right now, I don't think we have a population problem. We just have a resource problem and a greed problem.
Yeah. I probably would have liked to go back in time at different points to right wrongs, maybe make better decisions on certain things I did. God bless.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
but I don't know if I'd want to see the future. I'd be interested, but you know what they say? Uh, if someone said to you, "Could you predict the day you're going to pass away?" Some
Right. Would
people
you would
say,
you want to know? Right.
"Yeah." So I don't know about the future because the future could be fantastic and it could be horrific.
Right.
So what else would you like to do?
Um, I think I think it's tough without doing some. Oh, hold on, wait. Um, Probably the in progress painting of the mic of the what the hell is it? Oh my God. Um in progress, the painting of the ceiling, the famous one in the church.
The
Uh
chapel?
yeah. What the hell am I Jesus Christ, I am having a day.
Uh,
Famous
do I have to worry about you?
little bit. Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo. Jesus. I was gonna say Michelangelo, but I wasn't. I needed to like double check. Yeah, Michelangelo's fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Vatican. Yeah. So that would be another one I would love to see like in progress. Seeing him paint that. Phenomenal. Absolutely would love. Um, yeah, I think it's a lot of events that I tend to want to see in terms of that, right? The making of things, right? Seeing the architecture of Cleopatra or King Tut or something, the painting of the Sistine Chapel, the building of the Paris Eiffel Tower, French Eiffel Tower. Probably wouldn't want to see the building of the Titanic. Uh, Probably would want to go on the Titanic. That'd probably be cool before it sinks.
Yeah, but you know
Um,
what the problem is? What level would you be on the Titanic? Would you be on the bottom or you would be with the rich?
well, rich, of course.
Okay.
If I'm time traveling, I'm not time traveling to be at the bottom of the boat. I'm time
Mhm.
traveling to see the boat. Uh, so I'm not time traveling to pick the worst situation.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think, is there any other ones that I can go off the top of my head? Uh
You notice I'm not time traveling to become wealthy.
no, well, because we said no consequences, right? Like
Yeah,
that's the, because if that's the case, then I'll time travel back 10 years ago and tell myself to go put $100 into Bitcoin. So
yeah.
um I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any too many others that I can just rip off the top of my head. Um but I know there's tons more. Oh, may there I can't think of a specific, but there has to be something regarding music. Maybe the famous Queen event. That would be one. Freddie Mercury, the famous one, the event that he did. That would be nice. Maybe a couple of jazz and blues singers or artists, I should say, back in their primes.
Mhm.
That would be really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, all of mine is going to be arts and culture. Like I don't give a shit about politics. Like, oh, let's go back and see what Watergate was like. Oh, I wrong. I do have one that I can think of that I would love to be a fly on the wall for like a day. The Manhattan Project. I
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
would love to just understand the stress and uh, I would love to be at a capacity where I understand what was going on, like have the expertise and the knowledge, but to be in that room or those rooms and see what was going on, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that that one and the what's his name, Alan Turing,
Mhm.
Tur
Would you,
Alan Turing, yeah, when
mm,
he the Enigma, the machine that was for the Germans. It was like a no, you don't know about that?
no.
Gotta know about this.
Talking about projects, I would have liked to see if the Philadelphia project was real.
Philadelphia Project. Why am I?
The Philadelphia project had to do with time travel.
Oh, this thing with the boat. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we can really if if we're gonna go into those, yeah, I'd love to be there for Roswell. Like, yeah, we
Mm.
can we can go for those too. Alan Turing, highly influential in the development of theoretical computer science. Where is it? 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 He's considered the father of computer science. During World War II, Turing worked for the government code and cipher school, Britain's code breaking center that produced ultra intelligence. He was the one that broke the German ciphers. He devised a technique for speeding the breaking of German ciphers, including the improvements of pre-war Polish Bomba method, electromechanical machine that could find settings for the Enigma machine. Yeah, the Enigma machine was that thing that would encrypt German uh, communication, and he was the major guy who figured out how to break Enigma during the war. So I would love that Manhattan Project and the Enigma, right? We can only go off of the movies that you've seen, like
Philadelphia, also the Philadelphia Project.
right. But those would be ones that I would like to travel to because aside from those, I'm not huge on like war and politics and stuff. Like I don't give a shit. Watergate.
You wouldn't like to be a fly on the wall in the past couple of weeks when what well the person you brought up lost had his information
No, I don't because it's
hacked.
already out here. No,
No, at the day that it was hacked,
yeah, no, I don't.
what's his name?
Yeah, Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
It wasn't hacked. He's just an idiot. Like it was no hacking done. There was no smartness done. It was all idiocy. Idiocy,
Yeah,
idiocracy.
wouldn't you like to have been a fly on the wall in Trump's
No,
office when he found out?
no, because it's a bunch of idiots. Like
Uh,
there's no intelligence. There's no intelligent life there. It's just people being stupid. I don't care
yeah,
because it's like that's like saying would you want to be there when your child spilled a glass of milk? Like no, it was a dumb thing that happened and I knew about it after. So I
yeah.
don't
Well,
care. Like again, like so we can segue to that in a minute, but no, I don't care about that. Say like I was saying before, Watergate. I don't care. I've read I learned about it in class. I watched movies on it. I understand it was a huge deal, but it's like we've been through worse at this point politically and socially. So like I don't. It's not fascinating to me. What's fascinating to me is like the arts and the culture, the things that shaped society in a way that is arguably more impactful than something like Watergate.
would you have liked to have been a hologram? Because I wouldn't want to be alive walking around during the day of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'd say that's a cool one, just to see what they're like.
Yeah, because too dangerous, too many things
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Of course. I'd say that would be a cool one. I would like to see a woolly mammoth in its prime, assuming we don't uh what is it? God,
Clone,
I am clone. Thank you. I
clone, yeah.
bumbling on
2028,
words today.
they say by 2028 we're gonna clone a
Yeah.
mammoth.
Well,
We did,
I think I spoke about this in a previous podcast. They cloned mice, woolly mice. They mixed woolly mammoth DNA with mice and created woolly mice. And that was the first step in being able to clone, in their workings to clone a woolly mammoth. So yeah, I would love to see it in its prime and not the remake, not the sequel to the woolly mammoth.
yeah. They also cloned the dire wolf, but
So yeah, I remember looking at that and I remember it wasn't the headlines were a bit egregious when it came to that. Uh it's not technically a direwolf. It's like direwolf adjacent. Species of wolf that died out 12,500 years ago, lives again as the world's first successful de-extincted animal. DNA cloning, gene editing to alter the genes of gray wolf. That's what it is. So colossal scientists have created. Here, hold on. I'll do this really quick.
you want you
Colossal scientists have created three direwolf pups by using ancient DNA cloning and gene editing technology to alter the genes of a gray wolf, the prehistoric direwolf's closest living relative, the company announced on Monday. So it is technically a de-extinction of the direwolf, but it's also a form of a gray wolf. So that's why like they didn't resurrect the dire wolf. They sort of unlocked the historic DNA within the gray wolf.
yeah.
Um,
But I would have
And
liked
it
to have been there. I would have liked to been able to travel and see what they did, and regardless whether it was a full cloning or whatever. But it's amazing. I
Yeah.
just hope we don't. I just hope that I read where one company got something like $425 million, and I hope that they're not going to become another Jurassic Park, and in the near future.
No, I doubt it'll be a Jurassic Park situation, and it'll most likely be something because that's not mon it's not going to make money. This is a capitalistic world, unfortunately. So it-
Uh,
you don't get that kind of money to make Jurassic Park. They're going to use
yeah.
that money to do something that will create some type of business model, or make a gene editing software or device that can be sold to make much more.
Yeah, I'm going to contradict myself, an earlier remark I made. I would like to travel in the future and not change anything, but to see, are we going to meet aliens,
Well,
and are they going to be friendly? Are we going to be friendly, or are we going to destroy ourselves by not being friendly? Or are we going to have to protect ourselves because they're not friendly? So I'd like to see what the world is like, and not, change it, just view it and not come back with secrets where I would affect today,
yeah.
you know. I
Hold
mean,
on. Oh, go
what do
ahead.
you think?
No, I think I I would love to see aliens and so forth. The reason why I you pinged me is because we recently there was an article that came out about how apparently they scientists and researchers have found um what could be life on another planet. They found um I'm gonna be a poor explanation of this, so how about I just read it? Hold on. Hold on.
Are you talking about bacteria?
No. A team of researchers is offering what it contends is the strongest indication yet of extraterrestrial life, not in our solar system, but on a massive planet known as K2-18b that orbits a star 120 light years away. Repeated analysis of the exoplanet's atmosphere suggests an abundance of a molecule that on Earth has only one known source: living organisms such as marine algae. It is in no one's interest to claim prematurely that we have detected life. Astronomers study. This is a revolutionary moment. It's the first time humanity has seen potential biosignatures on a habitable planet. So the we may be spotting aliens sooner than you think.
Yeah, unless we're getting the Andromeda strain.
Well, or
You
we
know,
get the space squids.
yeah. You know what the Andromeda strain was, right? Michael Crichton's Andromeda strain.
Vaguely, I remember we've had talks about this before.
Yeah, where the astronauts came back with a strain that, well, people, if you want to read a good book, read the Andromeda strain.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm looking at my picture on the screen here, and the right side, it looks like my ear is flapping.
Yeah, it's because you it's because the camera or the software is auto cutting out your background, and because your
Um,
background is uh much more complex and there's other shapes and stuff behind you and your camera is of specific quality, it makes it difficult for it to cut the background. It's the same as me. If I move my hand certain places, it looks like I got webbing or an extra long hand here. That's
yeah.
because the you know my see it can't see my hands if I move them in certain ways or if I.
Yeah, but I don't like it because I remember I'm the sex symbol.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So time travel could be interesting. Do you think we'll ever be like Star Trek, where we get in the machine and they transfer our molecules from one place to another?
I think teleportation is something we can absolutely. I could definitely see teleportation being a thing. I don't see time travel being a thing. Um, I think it's too, or if it is, it's only into the future. It's not
Mhm.
a, it's not a two-way street. I forget who one of those Brian Cox, I think he said it. I think his name's Brian Cox, super smart, like scientist dude, talks about how technically you can already time travel forward in time. If you travel at the speed of light in one direction, you have effectively time traveled because of the distance you've covered in time. But if you try to come back, the amount of light years, the years that it takes for you to have technically traveled that time, you have to do that coming back. By the time you come back to try and tell people all the stuff you've explored, the planet's extinct. Like, so traveling forward in time is great. Traveling back in time is something like unless it's some 4 or 5D math that we haven't figured out yet.
Do you have the right name? Because Brian Cox is an actor.
Mm,
He very famous actor.
no, it's a famous actor and a physicist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Brian Dennis Cox is the actor that you're thinking of, Scottish actor. But Brian Edward Cox is an English physicist and
Oh,
musician. Yeah,
okay.
he's a particle physicist. So yeah, that's that's why I was concerned because I was yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, uh,
Yeah, I have one last place I'd like to visit.
yeah,
I would like to be in the theater with Abe Lincoln, and
okay,
I would like to be in there going, Abe, watch out! There's
yeah,
a gun here. Somebody's going to try to assassinate you. And
okay,
I wonder how that would have affected the outcome of the Civil War, you know.
mm,
But that would have been fun, getting thrown out of the theater, right?
mm-hmm,
I
yeah, that's a
mean,
good one.
I've been thrown out of better places, but
Oh,
why not?
Jesus, yeah, okay, that's a good one. Um,
And I have nothing more to say. I just thought time travel would be an interesting discussion where one would want to be. I liked some of your questions better than mine, you know. They were more artsy.
Well, that's more so just because I that's just my sphere is a lot of art stuff. So that's where I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm
That's
sure there's
right.
people who are heavier sports people. Like you probably didn't even think of this. You probably would have wanted to be there for some of like Michael Jordan's famous events, or maybe Tiger Woods, some of his famous events. Well, he's not that old, but like you get my point. Like you probably would have wanted to travel in time to some of those as well. Some of the major basketball, or maybe the some of the first major basketball, or
We only won to see if it was real when Babe Ruth supposedly visited the kid in the hospital and told him he was going to hit a home run for him.
hmm.
And he got up to the plate and pointed to right field and hit a home run. You know, I'd like to know if that was fact or fiction, you
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah. Well, but that's my point. You know, there's plenty of other avenues that we haven't even talked about because it's just not in our spheres. Mine just tends to be more on arts and culture than other stuff. Um, but yeah. So, anything else?
yeah, one last thing.
Okay.
I think I would have liked to have gone, uh, don't laugh at this. I would have liked to have watched Custer's army get destroyed at the Battle of the Little Bighorn because couldn't stand him. He was a very terrible person, Custer, and the things he did, people made him into a hero when he, prior to the Little Bighorn, went and killed the Indians and babies and everything, and they made him a hero. And he got his well-reserved destruction at the Little Bighorn. I think I would have liked to watch it, although it would have been terrible to watch, but I think I would have liked to watch it and go, yes, one for the Indians.
Fair enough.
I'm sick, aren't
A little bit, but that's fine.
I?
Uh, so, all right, before we hit the second topic, which I wanted to talk about, uh, we're gonna change the tape because Zoom only lets us record for like 40 minutes. So hold on.
Okay.
And we're back. Sorry, have to change the tape. Second thing wanted to talk about, which we brought up slightly earlier, was On a relatively related note, Pete Hegseth, our current, possibly not for long, Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth. Let me make sure I pull this headline up right. So Pete Hegseth, um, we all remember if you are in America and you watch this, uh, what was it, 2 weeks ago? A month ago, when his Signal chat leak classified documents,
Mhm.
um, homie leaked classified documents.
Mhm.
And but it, I will not debate with anyone or anything that these things were or were not classified documents. One, because if you Google what the definition of classified documents is as per government websites, specifically, you can look at whichever one you want. But uh, I pull it up if we need to. Uh, Definition of classified documents, and then when you look at articles about that Signal chat, former and current officials have stated that the information that he shared was in fact classified documents that could have gotten the pilots in danger or hurt. So, anyone who's listening can suck my left thumb because I'm not debating with you on whether this was classified or not. It was classified documents. He
I
did it
agree.
again. But
I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
he did it again. He not only not did it again in the sense of he's a second offender. They found out that he had a second group chat with 13 other people, and in that group chat was his wife and his brother in sharing this same information. And now apparently they are looking to replace him.
Yeah. Well,
So
you know what gets me, Peter? If I was a stockbroker and I shared information about a stock that I knew was going up because of a big purchase that my company was going to make, that would be insider trading, and I go to jail.
yeah, well, you're expecting logical thinking and actual justice to occur with a cabinet full of people who are stealing money out the wazoo. Um, Speaking of which, it just speaking of which, Ron DeSantis was just caught like yesterday or today. Um, where is it? Hold on. Where'd it go? Ron DeSantis says, this stupid thing, ad blocker. Um, Apparently Ron DeSantis took $10 million dollars and donated it to his wife's charity. DeSantis defends $10 million donation from state agency settlement to charity linked to his wife. The donation was part of a $67 million settlement last fall between the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration and Centene Corporation involving overpayments related to pharmacy benefit managers. State law mandates that money from the settlement be put in a trust fund or general fund under legislative oversight. Ron DeSantis called the settlement 100% appropriate and said Republican lawmakers were grasping at straws to reflect negatively on the settlement, which he said has nothing to do with Hope, Florida. And then apparently, apparently that was $10 million dollars was state money. Republican Representative Alex Andrade said during a tense hearing with the state agency head who oversaw Hope, Florida. I still have no idea why this was justified. I have a very strong belief that this was not legal. So, talking about political figures not being good with money and taking their money and being weird about it. That's
I don't think he'd steal because he's too smart to steal something and know what he's
obviously
going
not.
to do.
Obviously not giving $10 million of state money to his wife's charity. Homie's just looking for pay cuts. But anyways, back to the whole Pete Hegseth thing. Homie is I mean, granted, like let's be 100% on who Pete Hegseth is first. This man is let's see, born American author, former television presenter, and former Army National Guard officer. Studied politics in Princeton. Good for him. Where's his uh where the hell is his yeah, Fox News. Here it is. Homie was on Fox News for 10 years. By June, here I'll pull it up on the big screen. 2014, Hegseth became a regular contributor to Fox News by the network's executive. In 2016, he was briefly a host on The Blaze before regularly hosting Fox and Friends Weekend. So, according to Fox News executive in Hoax, Fox and Friends Weekend, who would later marry him, was favoring Pete with airtime and kept putting Pete on TV. So, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
he's an example of the Peter principle, that man or woman will reach that level of their incapability.
well, I mean, your the first step was that he was on Fox and Friends. That's that's already pretty low capabilities, but nonetheless, he people defended this and his position on not leak, like, oh, he didn't leak classified documents. Oh, it was filled with government officials. It shouldn't matter. It does, like, all this other BS. It's a unsecure line where they were hosting sensitive classified information. Doesn't matter that it was the first group chat was only government officials who should have had the clearance to see that. It was not on the appropriate communication line. But now that you've defended that, and now that he's come out with a second signal chat group chat where his wife and his brother and various other 13 people total in that group chat. They're not naming names right now, but 13 other, not it's not like it was three people, right? It's not like it was his family. 13 other people. And it was copy and pasted the exact same information. Like, I
What has been Trump's, response to this?
I don't think he's even aware of it at this point, or if, like, realistically, even if he did say anything about it, it's probably some lying BS to cover his own ass. Let me see. Let me pull
Yeah,
this
but
article
he
down.
usually, when there is a problem, he doesn't take notice of it. He just blames somebody else and fires them.
Well, it's interesting. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the Guardian article again. John Uliad, who resigned last week after initially serving as Pentagon spokesperson, said in an opinion essay published by Politico on Sunday that the Pentagon has been overwhelmed by staff drama and turnover in the initial months of the second Trump administration. He called the situation a full-blown meltdown that could cost Hegseth his job. It's been a month of total chaos, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. Donald Trump pushes back on the opinion piece, saying the author is officially exiled. Exactly what you said, pushing the blame and, blaming someone else for a political movement. This guy's not America first. I've been hearing for years that he works his ass off to subvert my father's agenda that ends today. Yeah. Okay. So exactly what you said. Um, Oh my God. Trump defended Hegseth at the annual Easter egg roll event at the White House. Pete's doing a great job. Just ask the Houthis how he's doing. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. It sounds like disgruntled employees. He was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. You don't always have friends when you do that. Okay. Hegseth
Okay.
himself blamed disgruntled former employees. Um, What a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media. Oh, I remember this part. I saw the video of him saying this line, and immediately social media called him out for being drunk while speaking that.
Yeah,
And one of the big identifiers was he was like speaking and turning. One of his sideburns was up here and the other one was down here.
yeah.
And they're like, "Hey Pete, shave your sideburns when you're sober, please." I mean, like the internet, like social media people, they're like, "Pete, your kids in the background are very clearly uncomfortable. They can tell you're drunk." And it's true. Like if you watch the video, he's I mean, let me see if I can pull it up really, really quick. Because it was a very egg roll White House uh speaking. Let me see if I can find the clip. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. I'm waiting for an ad. Give me a sec. I would love to not have ads. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna pull it up. All right. Do you hear this?
No,
You don't hear anything?
no.
Oh no. No, you probably have to. I'm pretty sure you hear this. No?
No.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna look here. Look at the sideburn. We got this one right here.
Okay.
Okay. And then turn the other way. They just asked about the signal chat. Hold on, I'm gonna put the captions on. Yeah, he's talking about pedal the Russia hoax, blah blah. Do you
It's not
see
it's not that bad.
it's up? No. It's like up here, and the other one's like down here. This
Yeah,
one's like right here. He's missing.
yeah, he's letting it grow.
Yeah. And then oh, here's the kids. Kid's uncomfortable. Look at this kid. Look at this kid's face. What are we doing?
Yeah, he probably has to go to the bathroom.
This one's my favorite. So yeah, just
You know what?
it's entertainment. That's what this is. This is not politics. This is not news. This is entertainment. He's a Fox and Friends news host, so of course he's going to entertain.
Yeah, like I said to you before, I like this phrase that I heard. He, when describing somebody who makes a mistake that's in the government, uh, he's a prick, but he's our prick, right?
Uh, he could be your prick. I'm not claiming that. That's not mine. I didn't vote for that. That's
Well, while he's there,
if
he's
if
every.
if Trumpers could spend 4 years with Biden saying that's not my president, then I can say that that's not my Secretary of
Oh, I
Defense.
agree. I agree. I'm still waiting for Trump to call me to become Secretary of State or Secretary of Education.
Look,
Uh,
if you've got, why am I fucking blurry?
I
Whatever.
don't know.
If you've got enough, if you just go on Fox and Friends and say enough hateful stuff, he'll probably put you in some position. It doesn't matter. You just shake his hand, give him a quick blowy, go on Fox and Friends for like 5 years. You'll be fine. He'll put you in whatever position he's got open for you. I mean, look at Elon. Elon's got an illegitimate organization that's not supposed to have clearance for any form of government, yet he's had access to everything.
Are you
So,
saying that he's illegitimate?
Elon Musk?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's jet like his Doge office was never like a legitimate org. It was only supposed to be a third party consultant org.
Mhm.
They were never supposed to have clearance. They were giving clearance because it's a cabinet full of incompetence, but he was legally and technically not supposed to have clearance. So, uh, yeah, homie's illegitimate when it comes to that. But
So can you imagine if somebody from the future is here and they're watching all this?
someone from the future, you're assuming there's a future after these guys.
That's correct.
And if that's true, they're probably looking at this the same way that I spoke about Watergate 30 minutes ago, saying, I don't give a shit about that. Worse shit has already happened. we've already had we've already had intergalactic aliens try and blow up the planet 3 times. We don't care about this guy. This guy was nothing.
Yeah. And anyway, so that's my story.
Yeah.
Um,
So if anyone's looking to keep up to date, by all means, uh, we may be we may be seeing a new Secretary of Defense soon, possibly. White House is apparently looking to replace him. So, as per NPR, but we shall see
I just don't understand how somebody could become Secretary of Defense
with no credentials.
other than just being in the National Guard. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
You're asking that as the president was formerly a 8-time bankrupt, successfully bankrupt business TV show media boy with no actual political credentials, knowledge, or abilities, and somehow got elected twice.
well, he might be elected twice and he might be elected thrice. We don't know.
Like I don't have the energy to talk about that. That's just
Um,
I'm not even stressed about that. I just don't have the energy to talk about that. Oh my
okay.
God. But yeah, my point stands. That is the president. So it's absolutely 100% expected that his cabinet is going to be filled with similar. It's only it's a reflection of who he is. That's He's surrounded himself with these people.
Okay. So anything in the future is anything that's not happening at this moment. So I wish you good luck on all your endeavors because you have a lot of endeavors coming up.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. And if they materialize, perhaps you'll want to talk about it. If not,
Yeah,
you
maybe. That'll be
yeah,
cool if I can.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, if I could travel into the past one more time, it would be uh to see what life was like before his first presidency again, because it's been so long. I forgot what joy feels like.
That's funny.
So,
Again, I wish him the best because as he goes, so do we. And if he's not going to do well, the country's not going to do
the
well.
country's already not doing well.
I
Stock
know,
market's been plummeting. We've been losing
I
trillions of dollars.
I
He won't let up
know,
on the tariffs.
I know. We're printing money like it's toilet paper. So anyway, let's see what happens in the future. Hopefully, it won't be like 1932 where people are going to be jumping out of windows and selling apples on the corner.
People are already selling apples on the corner and jumping out of windows. It's just the frequency of what it happens.
Yeah. So I'm finished. How you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to rip into Pete Hegseth a little bit
Good.
because it was funny.
Good. It
Um,
was it was fun.
Aside from that, I hope everyone has a good rest of your day. And if you have any places you wanted to jump back in time to, let us know. I know this will be on YouTube, and you can probably comment there. I think Spotify lets you also comment. Um, I
Well, we're
think
not
so.
getting many comments on YouTube.
Well, we don't normally get comments in general, but if you happen to feel compelled to comment, whether on YouTube or I believe Spotify, by all means, comment. Let us know what places you would jump into the past to
Yeah.
uh, to visit. We'd be interested to know. And maybe if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, we can talk about it the next episode.
Okay.
All
Love
right.
you. Love you. Everybody be well. Don't
Peace out.
stress.
Peace out.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Peace out. And remember, it's not over till it's over.
Yeah.